Hi, everyone. Kindness is a gift, but like any gift, it should be given wisely. When you hand it out to everyone, especially to men who haven't earned it, it stops being kindness and starts becoming currency for approval. You're not here to be the emotional sponge for someone else's mess. You're not here to keep the peace by sacrificing your own. That's not kindness, that's a slow erosion of your self-worth. Too often, women are taught to be polite at any cost. Smile when you're uncomfortable, be patient when disrespected, forgive without change. But kindness without boundaries is a trap. It teaches people that they can treat you however they want and you'll still show up, still say yes, still stay quiet. That kind of kindness doesn't make you stronger, it makes you invisible. Being kind is not about being agreeable. It's about being grounded in your values. It's not about keeping others happy. It's about not betraying yourself in the process. When you say yes to a man who treats you like an option, you're saying no to your own self-respect. When you soften your voice to avoid conflict, you silence your truth. And when you excuse bad behavior in the name of understanding, you give away your power piece by piece. Think of your kindness like water. It gives life, it heals, but too much of it in the wrong place drowns everything in its path. You need containers. You need structure. You need to ask yourself, has this person earned access to my softness? Because the world will keep taking until you say enough, and that line, that boundary, is the beginning of real respect. You can still be kind, you can still be loving, but from now on, be kind without abandoning yourself. That's not cold, that's clarity, that's strength, that's power. Respect doesn't begin with how others treat you, it begins with how you treat yourself. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you accept, and what you walk away from. If you keep giving chances to someone who constantly disrespects you, you're not being patient, you're giving them permission, and when that becomes your pattern, respect disappears from the equation altogether. How you speak to yourself, how you hold yourself, how you protect your time, your energy, your body, that is your first and loudest message to the world. If you constantly put yourself last, bend your boundaries, and shrink your needs just to avoid conflict or keep someone around, what message does that send? That your peace is negotiable? No one is going to show up and hand you self-respect. It's something you claim, moment by moment, decision by decision. When you stop texting first, not to play games, but because you're tired of being the only one who shows effort, that's self-respect. When you walk away from a man who's inconsistent instead of trying to decode his mixed signals, that's self-respect. When you stop explaining why your standards aren't too much and start enforcing them instead, that's self-respect. All right? And here's the truth. The right people won't be offended by your standards. They'll be inspired by them. Respect attracts respect. But it only starts showing up when you choose to stop begging for it and start embodying it. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to fight to be chosen. You need to honor yourself enough to stop entertaining anyone who makes you question your worth. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to protect everything that makes you powerful. Start there. Start with you. That's where real change begins. There's a dangerous myth out there, one that's been passed down like some kind of romantic wisdom, that love means carrying someone else's pain, fixing their problems, and being endlessly available no matter the cost to yourself. But here's the truth. Emotional labor is not love. You're not a rehab center for emotionally unavailable men. You are not his therapist, his mother, or his emotional punching bag. Love doesn't mean draining yourself to keep someone else afloat. You don't have to prove your love by enduring emotional chaos, if every conversation turns into damage control, if you're constantly walking on eggshells, if you're always calming him down while your own heart is on fire, that's not love. That's emotional servitude. And the more you carry for someone else, the less you can hold for yourself. That's when your joy disappears, your light dims, and your spirit gets buried under someone else's bag. Real love doesn't ask you to lose yourself. It doesn't demand that you stay silent about your needs so he can feel more comfortable. If the relationship is built on you always being the strong one, the forgiving one, the understanding one, then it's not balanced, it's not healthy, and it's definitely not love. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve someone who checks in on you, who asks how you're doing, who doesn't only show up when they need something. Love is not one-sided effort disguised as loyalty. You are allowed to stop pouring into people who leave you empty. You are allowed to choose peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and support over survival. So stop mistaking emotional labor for connection. You don't have to be exhausted to be worthy. You don't have to save him to be loved. The one who deserves your heart will never make you sacrifice your soul to stay. That's not selfish, that's self-respect. Potential is a pretty word. It's dressed in hope, wrapped in possibility, and it whispers, one day he'll change. But here's the truth. Potential means nothing without action. You can fall in love with who a man could be and waste years waiting for him to become someone he never intends to be. You can write chapters in your head about the future while ignoring the reality screaming at you in the present. We've all seen it. The guy who talks a good game, he says all the right things, makes all the right promises. He tells you he's working on himself, says he's not ready yet, but loves you anyway. And so you wait, you adjust, you shrink, you compromise, thinking that if you just hold on a little longer, he'll step up. But what if he never does? What if the only thing he's consistent at is being inconsistent? Potential is dangerous when it blinds you to patterns. Words without behavior are empty. A man's intentions don't matter if they never become actions. You don't build a life on maybe, you build it on consistency, reliability, respect, and truth. And if you're constantly having to make excuses for his lack of effort, he's just stressed, he's trying, he doesn't mean it, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a fantasy that only you are maintaining. Stop dating the future version of someone. Start paying attention to the man in front of you today. Is he present? Is he consistent? Does he make you feel safe, heard, valued? Or are you always in a state of hope, waiting for the version of him that exists only in your imagination? Your life is happening now. Your heart is beating now. You deserve to be loved now, not someday. Potential is a promise with no deadline. Don't keep sacrificing your peace for someone who doesn't even see the gift that's right in front of them. You are not a project, you are a prize. And it's time to start acting like it. Being liked is not more important than being respected. Read that again, let it sink in. We live in a world where women are often trained from birth to be pleasing. Smile, nod, don't speak too loudly, don't take up too much space, be agreeable, be nice, be liked. But being liked won't protect you. It won't honor you. It won't save you when someone decides to cross your boundaries. Respect, on the other hand, changes everything. Respect commands space. It tells people, you can't talk to me that way. You can't treat me that way. I am not here for your comfort. I'm here for my truth. And here's the kicker. The moment you stop bending over backwards to be liked, the right people will start showing up. The ones who see your power and aren't afraid of it. The ones who don't need you to play small just so they can feel big. So many women lose themselves trying to be liked. They silence their opinions, they water themselves down, they laugh at jokes that aren't funny and stay in rooms where they're not respected, all for the sake of being liked. But let's be honest. How many times has being likable actually led to being valued? How many times has people-pleasing turned into peace? Probably never. You are not everyone's cup of tea, and that's a blessing. Stop treating rejection as failure. Start treating it as alignment, because every time you choose to be respected over being liked, you reinforce your own worth. Every time you walk away from someone who wants your obedience more than your authenticity, you win quietly, powerfully. The truth is, being liked is often temporary, conditional, and surface level, but being respected, and that's deep, that's lasting, that's earned through self-awareness, boundaries, and boldness. So let them call you too much, let them misunderstand you, let them walk away if they can't handle the full volume of your truth. That's not your loss, it's theirs. Clear standards are your shield in a world that will test your worth at every turn. They're not about being difficult or too picky. They're about protecting your peace, your purpose, and your power. When you don't have clear standards, you leave the door open to chaos, confusion, and disrespect. But when you know who you are and what you stand for, the noise fades, the games stop, the wrong people fall away. Think of your standards like a filter, not a wall, not a weapon, but a way to keep your life clean. You filter out the men who love bomb and then ghost. You filter out the ones who want your body but not your mind. You filter out the ones who only show up when it's easy but disappear when it's time to show effort. And no, you don't have to explain those standards to anyone. The right people will understand them without needing a PowerPoint presentation. Too many women are afraid that having standards will make them miss out on love. But let's be honest. How many times have you lowered your standards and still ended up hurt? Settling doesn't save you. It delays your peace. It clutters your life with people who were never meant to stay. And you don't need more almosts. You need absolute yeses. People who show up, who add to your life, who meet you with the same energy you give. Having standards doesn't mean you expect perfection. It means you expect consistency, honesty, effort, and respect. It means you don't tolerate being breadcrumbed, gaslit, or put on hold. It means you don't chase, you attract. You don't convince, you choose. And when someone can't meet your standards, you don't argue. You step back, not with anger, but with certainty. Because the woman who knows her worth doesn't fear being alone. She fears settling for less than she deserves. And that woman, she doesn't need to shout. Her standards speak for her.